Testing 1, 2, 3. Checking to see if this mic.
I'm broke.
Good.
Jaden Pinkett Smith.
What?
Don't mess with Gloria.
Don't make me come up there. I'll get the whoop. Get out my face, I know.
Whoops.
Garbage?
Alright.
I see. I'm finding somebody. Yeah, I need to pick this up as fast as you can. That's what I want to see.
Oh, damn. Hi, this is me, Paul Jr. And today, me and my class are going on a field trip to a science museum in Lansing. And now, Miss Vincent is our principal is talking. Hi, this is me, Paul Jr. And as I was saying, this is I'm with my 5th grade class, and we are in Lansing going on a field trip. And we are about to now enter the museum. All right, and I'll come back with you with more details. This is Paul Jr. saying peace.
Yeah, you know, Sonic Hero.
This is Big D of the G, man. Pimp City. Hey guys, that's just my crazy friend Craig. Don't listen to a word he says. And this is his man, and then this is his friend Matt. What the heck? Hold up. And we're all gonna be telling you about the field trip. All right?
Feel me, peace.
It's really cool. Hey man,
Peace.
And this is my friend Caleb.
I am a godsend. I mean,
I am a godsend. And note to self, he's crazy too. This is Paul Jr. And as you can see, we're in the Science Museum, and we're doing all sorts of amazing things. And right now, me and my friends are going into the science store. We're playing sorts of games, and we're just doing all sorts of kind of projects. And we'll come back to you with more info of the field trip. And this is Paul Jr. saying peace. Bye. Hi, my name is Paul Jr. And here we're at the Science Museum, and I'm about to test out this.
whatever you say.
What it does is you have this string that attaches to this rod that holds these tennis balls, and you put up to 3 tennis balls in there, and you crank this up, and then what we just did was if we hold it down and press launch, then they'll go keep the string short. It won't go anywhere at all, and that's how these 2 balls got stuck. Well, I'll tell you more as we get further into the museum. This is Paul Jr. saying peace. Hi, this is Paul Jr. and we're in the chemical lab, and what we just did was turn polydioxide into this slime.
Alcohol.
Into this slime by adding.
Excuse me.
Kind of.
What is alcohol?
By adding this kind of liquid. By adding this kind of water liquid. And
He meant liquid. He meant alcohol.
as you can see, we're about to move on to our next project, which is electricity, and I'll tell you more about that later. Peace.
Video camera is.
The electrons hang out outside the nucleus, and they're always moving. Are you ready to be an electron? You need to travel around the nucleus in a circle and kind of shake your hands and smile. There you go. Now remember, electrons are really energetic, so you have to look like you're really energetic. All right, good. Now, electrons are always going, okay? Now, our protons and our neutrons are moving too, but they're just kind of hanging out together. They're just kind of floating through the universe, while the electrons are really, really active. Now, does this atom just stay put, or does it move around? It moves around. It moves all over the place. In fact, it bumps into other atoms all the time. And sometimes when it bumps into an atom, it picks up another electron. Come on up. You are now an electron. Do as electrons do. Now shake your hand, smile, go fast. There you go, perfect. Not fast enough to fall over and get dizzy. But As these, yeah, now everybody wants to come up and be an electron. As these electrons travel around the center of the atom, the nucleus, you can see that they have lots of energy. This is where we get electricity. These electrons are where we get our electricity. Now, just as easy as we picked up an electron, we can also lose electrons. They can go to other places. But you keep moving. Are you, unless you're really dizzy, are you dizzy? Okay, just slow down a little bit. You're still electron. He's a dizzy electron. All right, you want to go the other way to gain a better equilibrium? Okay, go the other way. There we go. All right. Now, that never happens in an atom, but this electron is traveling around the nucleus, and it's important we understand where the electrons are, because then you'll better understand where we get static electricity. Give our atom a round of applause. Good job. Are you okay? Good job. That was a nice round of applause. I saw that. Now, protons and neutrons have a charge, and electrons have a charge. Protons have a positive charge. Neutrons are neutral. They don't really have a charge. But electrons have a negative charge. What we're going to do is we're going to generate some static electricity. Just like the static electricity you generated by chasing your cat. Okay? We are going to generate static electricity using this piece of machinery called a Van de Graaff generator. Have you seen one of these before? Some of you may have played with one of these before. This is a machine that's whole purpose is to generate static electricity. Inside this clear plastic tube here is a belt that is made of rubber. And that belt is connected to a pulley that's in this blue box and a pulley that's up here in this silver sphere. As the rubber belt travels across the two pulleys, it picks up electrons and it deposits them here. Now, where does it pick up the electrons from? Well, on the pulley wheel in here is a piece of felt. Have you ever felt felt before? Okay. How many of you have done the old balloon on the head trick? I need somebody that wants to do the balloon on the head trick. Right there. Come on. What's your name? Eddie, come out here, stand in front of all these wonderful people. Ready for the balloon to be rubbed on your head? Are you ready? Okay, the balloon on the head trick. Oh, he's got good hair for static electricity. Okay? As the balloon rubs across Eddie's head and hair, it is taking electrons away from Eddie's hair. And where are those electrons going? To the balloon. Okay? Now, as I move the balloon around, you will see that the hair is moving as well. Is the hair attracted to the balloon, or is it trying to repel the balloon? Okay. It's attracted to it. It's reaching out to grab the balloon. So there must be something on the balloon that the hair wants. And that are those electrons. Now, why does this happen? Well, it's very easy. Eddie, stand right there with your hair. Let's. Eddie. Okay? That's Eddie. Balloon. Okay? As the balloon rubs back and forth across Eddie's head, it's picking up electrons. Electrons have what charge? Negative. They are negatively charged. Okay? So the balloon becomes full of negatively charged electrons. Would you then say that the balloon is negatively charged? Yes. Okay? Because it has lots of electrons on it. But Eddie's hair, now being stripped of its electrons, is now positively charged. How many of you played with magnets before? When you put the north pole of a magnet together with the south pole of a magnet, do they attract or do they repel? Attract. They attract. When you put north and north together, what do they do? Repel. The same thing happens in electricity. When you have a positive charge and a negative charge, they attract. When you have a positive charge and a positive charge, they repel. Opposites attract. So, if we have a negative charge here and a positive charge on Eddie's head, guess what? They're attracted to each other. The balloon and Eddie's hair want to be together. Okay? You can see that because the hair is reaching out towards the balloon. Give Eddie a round of applause. Good job, Eddie. Now, oh, that's all right. We're going to mess up a lot of hair today. This Van de Graaff generator does the same thing, except instead of having to rub a balloon across somebody's head, we take that and we put it inside the machine. Basically, you can think of that rubber belt right there rubbing across the piece of felt the same way that you think about the balloon rubbing on Eddie's head. Now, I need a parent volunteer to turn the lights out for me, please. I would appreciate that. I'm going to turn on the Van de Graaff generator. Go ahead and turn on, or turn them off. Hear something? I'm going to take my first of two magic wands today. This magic wand is just a doorknob. Glue it onto a piece of plastic with a wire that's actually connected to the blue box of the Van de Graaff generator. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply reach this in here. Bring it closer to the Van de Graaff generator. And you'll see that we are allowed to make what? Lightning. Do you see lightning? Okay. This is the same type of lightning that you would see in a thunderstorm, just not nearly as powerful as lightning in a thunderstorm. Now, it's kind of interesting. When I bring it really close, you'll see it strikes over and over and over again very frequently. Do you see that? As I bring it further away, it doesn't strike as frequent, but when it does, it looks a little different. Do you see the change in color from when I have it here to when I have it there?
Yeah.
This looks almost a little purple or blue, and when I bring it really close, I get a very bright white light. I'm going to reach in and turn this off. Let's leave the lights off. When the Van de Graaff generator is running and we collect all of those electrons up here, just like Eddie's head, I already grounded it, I can touch it. The sphere becomes very negatively charged. This, on the other hand, is not as negatively charged, so the electrons want to jump from there to here because this is positively charged. Now, I have a light bulb, okay? And there's a couple of different types of light bulbs now. We used to only have incandescent light bulbs, which is the very typical light bulb shape. You look at the inside of the light bulb, it has a tiny little wire. Yeah, has a tiny little wire in there. And when you screw that into the outlet and turn the switch on, electricity passes through that wire and it heats that wire up. And it gives us what? Light. This is called a fluorescent tube, okay? And this, instead of heating a wire up, this actually excites a gas that's in this tube, and that gives us light. Now, this runs, as most lights do, on current electricity, which is electricity that comes out of outlets. That's very different than static electricity. But do you think we can get this to work on the Van de Graaff generator?
Yes.
I don't know. Let's try. I'm going to get shocked a number of times doing this, so don't laugh at me. Ready? Well, you can laugh at me if you want. Oh! All right. Now, as I place this close to the Van de Graaff generator, does the light illuminate?
Yes.
Does it light up?
Yeah.
Now, what if I touch it?
Too much. Too much for it to handle.
And what if I move my fingers down? You see the change? So I touch it, the light does what? Goes out. When I move it away so it's not touching, the light comes on. If I move my fingers down the tube, you see that the light only goes to my finger and doesn't go any further. Why is this happening? Can we get the lights back on, please? Anybody have an idea why this is happening? Here's the first question. Why is it that when I have this in contact with the Van de Graaff generator, the light does not come on?
Maybe because it was too much power for it.
All right, maybe too much. Didn't like it.
That was negative and that was negative, so it repelled
Why are they both negative?
because you were moving your fingers up and down it, and that didn't have any positive energy.
You're there. You're almost exactly right. You're right. Both of these, when they're in contact with each other, are negative. Why?
They rebelled.
We know they're repelling because they're both negative, but why are they both negative? When I pull it away, it's not negative. But when they're in contact with each other, they're both negative. Why?
Because they both have the electrons.
They're both touching, aren't they? They both have electrons. If this is in contact with the Van de Graaff generator, not only does the Van de Graaff generator become negatively charged, but then so does the light bulb. As we know, if we have same charges, they are going to repel. If I pull this away, we now have a difference in charge, right? So we have negative electrons here, and this light bulb is more positively charged. So where do the electrons want to go?
To the light bulb.
To the light bulb. And you see that happening because the light bulb does what?
Light up.
It lights up. Now, let's see if we can't do some human experiments. Who would like to come up and be hooked up to the Van de Graaff generator?
No.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, come on. Are you ready? Have you ever done this before? Okay. Stand right up there on top of that switch. Facing the Van de Graaff generator. Okay. Now, you're going to put your hands right on the Van de Graaff generator like this. Okay? Palms and all. Palms and fingers right there. Now, turn around so your feet are facing forward. Perfect. Now, you're going to stand right there. I'm going to turn the Van de Graaff generator on, and you're going to leave your hands on the generator. Okay? Okay? That's why we explain it. All right? Right there. Come on. Will you take your headband off? Okay. She said, no, I'm not. I'm leaving. All right. Okay, good. Wrap your hands around that. Leave your hands right on. Okay, I'm going to turn the Van de Graaff generator on. The Van de Graaff generator will become negatively charged. So will Cameron, and so will Cameron's hair. Okay? Now, if Cameron decides to pull her hands off of the Van de Graaff generator while it's still running, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, we're going to light her up. She's going to get a shot. Okay?
Don't they go?
If she leaves her hands on the whole time, she will be fine. Okay? She won't get shot. Now, Cameron, are you ready? Are you nervous? Good. Okay. I'm going to reach in here with the other magic wand so that gives me a little distance so I don't get shot. Keep your hands on it and watch Cameron's hair. Cameron, is it feeling funny? Okay. Shake your head around a little bit. Oh yeah, it's starting to work. Now kind of turn over here and look at us. Yeah. Just let it go. Shake your head a little bit more. A little harder. Yeah, we're getting some hairs that are moving on up. You see that Cameron's hair is now trying to get away from her body. Because her body's becoming negatively charged, so is her hair. So the hair doesn't want to be there anymore, it's trying to go away. The hair is reaching out towards things that are surrounding her body that are positively charged, and we're now actually getting some pieces of hair that are standing straight up. Okay? As you look right here, you can see these hairs are standing straight up. You can actually even get it a little lift out. Okay? Do you want to take a picture of that? You're going to look over here at the camera so you can take. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, can you feel the static electricity all over your body? Now we're starting to get some really big ones. Look at this up here. The hairs are reaching for the ceiling. I'm going to reach in here, turn this off, and take your hands off, turn around, face all your wonderful friends. You can see her hair is getting straight up. Now, as she moves down to the ground, the static electricity will leave her body, and her hair will come back down to her head. Give her a big round of applause. we're going to do now is we're going to do something called the chain of pain. The chain of pain is where everybody in the room has an opportunity to participate with static electricity. The chain of pain is a semicircle of humans, that's you guys, holding hands, starting from right here around the inside of the room and ending right over here. And what we're going to do, or what I am going to do, is I'm going to charge myself up on the Van de Graaff generator, and then we're going to see if we can't pass some static electricity through everybody. If you would like to participate in the chain of pain, please stand up and form a semicircle right here. Line the semicircle back. The shock that you received is not dangerous. But if we were to experiment with current electricity, that's extremely dangerous, which is why we do not experiment with it. There is a big difference between current electricity, the kind of electricity that comes out of your outlets, and static electricity. The word static means not moving, okay? So static electricity you can think of as a collection of electrons on something. Those electrons don't move until they get close enough to something that they want to move to. Just like the electrons that were all over my body, when they got my hand close enough to Matthew, where'd they go? To Matthew and eventually to all of us. Okay? Now, the reason that we had Anna hold the anchor, or the doorknob, is because we wanted that electricity to go all the way through us and back to the ground. Okay? So this knob is just connected to this blue frame. The static electricity hits back to this blue frame and is then able to transfer back into the ground, which is where it wants to go. Okay? Question?
What would happen if Anna had hold on to Matthew?
If Anna had held on to Matthew,
Yeah.
you would get the same, it wouldn't continue to go around and around if that's what you're looking at. It doesn't have a pulsing electricity like the current electricity does. I don't know if any of you have been electrocuted before. I unfortunately have when I was a little kid. And it pulses. It's constantly going. And so it continues to hit you again and again and again and again. Static electricity hits you once and it's over with. Okay? If we were to collect, if you were to all form a circle and all hold hands, and I charged myself up and then just touched one of you, it would be the exact same thing that just happened. Okay? It would just travel once through all of you and it would be done. Now, the next time you walk across the carpet and you reach out to open up a door and you get a shock, you'll know that that is coming from the electrons in the atom that you just learned about. Questions? What if Anna would have let go of this? We would have had a less intense chain of pain. Okay? Because it wouldn't travel all the way through. We wouldn't be able to get it back to the ground. So Matthew would have felt it, and it would have dispersed a little faster. As we stand right here on the floor, I can charge myself up with static electricity, and as soon as I hit the floor, the static electricity leaves my body and spreads all the way throughout the room. Okay? If I stand up on this stool, it doesn't do that, because this stool is an insulator. You guys know the difference between insulators and conductors?
Yes.
If I were to stand on a metal stool, that electricity, static electricity, would not only be on my body, but it would also be on the stool, and it would funnel right into the carpet around us. Did you have something?
Yes. Did the electricity, the charge feel the same at the beginning as it did at the end?
It's a very good question. Did anybody change spots? Did you? Where were you for the first chain of pain?
We were kind of back there and then we moved forward.
You were back here,
Yeah, and then we moved forward.
and then you moved forward. Did you feel a difference in intensity?
Yeah, because the first time went through my arm, up in my upper lip, and then the second time it went from this arm right to this arm, and it made me jump higher.
Jump higher. There should be a slight difference between the person that stands at the beginning, Matthew, and maybe Anna. There would be a slight difference in the intensity of it, because we lose some of it out of the room as it moves through. And I let the other one run a little longer in number 2, and we left the Van de Graaff generator on. When I turn the Van de Graaff generator off, and we have that 4 or 5 seconds before I actually transfer the charge, that's 4 or 5 seconds that static electricity can leave my body before it's transferred to yours. Any other questions? Yes? What's that? Yeah, it feels, it gives you a quick hit, doesn't it? What happens is all of your muscles contract immediately when it gets that electric pulse. So yeah, it may have felt like we broke your wrist, but we didn't. Are you ready to go explore?
Yeah.
You guys are so excited. Yes?
I heard that when you get electrocuted, that your blood boils.
It can. The electricity, as I said, from the current outlet is extremely dangerous. It just continues to hit you over and over and over again. People that are
This is Paul, and the last thing that we were doing was electricity. And as you can see, I did some tape of it, and as you can see, when he put the doorknob to the orb, electricity started to happen. And when he had the light bulb, the light started to light up. And I'll get into more details about that later. But now we just got done eating, and me and my friends are just having fun and going to the stores and stuff, all right? And now I'll be back with more. This is Paul Jr. saying peace.
And this is Matthew. Goodbye.
He's nutty.
Small, guess what has to get really big? First one we're going to explore is called your inclined plane. All right. Where in the real world have you seen things like this? Yes. A ramp, that's right. You've seen ramps at what places? Hospitals. Oh. Your school, that's right, outside. Okay, the circus, you might see them at the circus. Yes. A furniture place. Why would they have this at a furniture place? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, to wheel the furniture down instead of maybe having to carry it up or push it up. Okay. Yes. At a where? At a skateboard park. Yeah, most definitely. Yes. Yep, you can use it instead of having to use stairs. There are people that might not be able to use stairs that maybe are in wheelchairs, so stairs are impossible, things like this. If you have 2 or 3 stairs, you're not going to want an elevator, right? Then you're just put in an incline ramp. That's probably where you use it a lot in school. Yes. Right there, very good observations. Yes. You had a truck, that's right. How many of you seen a moving truck or any type of truck that's unloading heavy things? Most definitely, they're having an incline plane or ramp. They're not always, they have to remove it, put it back down, things like that. Yes.
On a bus, like those little things that come out.
Okay, on a bus, that's right. Sometimes to make the floor kind of even. So you got great examples of where you might see an inclined plane or a ramp. All right, what we're going to do is I need another volunteer, a really strong, tough volunteer. How about you? All right, what's your name? Naisha. All right, Naisha, what you're going to do is you're not going to use this quite yet. You're going to lift this object onto the sledge. Are you ready? You ready for that work? Now, before she does that, we got to see where the distance is at. The distance that she has to lift this object to the ledge is where? From the floor to the ledge. Okay, so do you see that distance? Is it big or huge? Not necessarily. Okay, go ahead. All right, very good. So she accomplished her work. What we're going to do, is that tough? Not extremely, right? What we're going to do, how can you not think this is tough? You must be weak. What we're going to do is we're going to give you a ramp. Now, she doesn't no longer have to pick it up and put it up there. She will just have to push it up our ramp. But what did we do to the distance?
Shorten it.
That's right, because now the distance is from the end of that ramp all the way there. So if the distance has gotten bigger, what happened to the force? It's got smaller, so she's not going to have to use as much muscles to push this up. Let's in fact push this over here for you. I'll hold your ramp together. All right, go ahead and push it up. Very good. Was that easy? Was that easier than the first one? stays the same. What changed is the distance or the amount of force that she had to use, okay? Good, go ahead and give her a nice round of applause. Also mentioned a lever, right? Yeah. And a lever is a simple machine. We have a first class, second class, and a third class lever. In your lever, you have a couple things going on. You have a fulcrum, a fixated spot. Ours is going to move for our purposes, but in most levers, your fulcrum is put, okay? Our fulcrum in our first class lever is going to be right in the middle. We also need a couple other things. We need a load and a force on one side, or effort. What does this look like? So a teeter-totter or a seesaw is exactly what this looks like. A first class lever could definitely be a seesaw or a teeter-totter. I need some load, I need some stuff to move around. So how about you in those glasses? What's your name? Matthew? All right, Matthew. Come on down, have a seat right at the very end and face your friends. Very nice. Okay, now we need some effort on this side. Fulcrum in the middle, load on one side, and the fulcrum on the other side. So let's have you. Paul. Come on down. Kneel on your knees, just like, kneel on your knees. You're going to use your muscle, kneel on your knees like you got before. And then you're going to use your hand, okay? Push him down. Are you ready? All right. As he pushes down, what's going to happen to your friend Matthew? He's going to come up. All right, ready? Go for it. Oh, don't break it. He's not going to break it, but what happened? He's not going to go up. Paul, where's those muscles? All right. Very good. What we're going to do, go ahead, Paul, you can stop. Oh, very good effort. Oh, good job. All right, go ahead and pull him, push him. Oh, let him go. There you go. Well, that was tough, wasn't it? All right, it took a lot of effort. What we're going to do is we're going to move this fulcrum closer and closer to Paul. Will this be easier for him to do or harder? Harder. Why? Yes. Because of the distance. That's right. We made the distance really, really small between the effort and the fulcrum. So what has to increase? The effort, the force. That's right. So go ahead, try it. All right, before, at least you could get him up a little bit, and when you try for a very long time, yeah. But right now, it's not because Matthew has gained 10 or 20 pounds or anything in the few seconds we were just waiting here. It's because of the distance between the fulcrum and our effort. We made it smaller, so the force has to go up. So what do you think might happen if we take this fulcrum all the way to this end? It'll be easier. Let's try. Glenn, one second before we call. Oh, yes. All right, go ahead. Very good. A lot easier because you've increased your distance. You increase distance, what happens to your effort or your force? It makes it easier. It's small. But the work is still the same. You still had to get your friend up here. All right, go ahead. Let him go. Look how cool he is. All right, go ahead and give him a nice round of applause. All right. Now that's a first class lever. A second class lever, they have the same few things. We do have a load, we do have a fulcrum, we do have an effort or your force, right? But they're not in the same places, okay? If your fulcrum was down here or in the middle, right? In your second class lever, it moves down to one end. If that's where your effort was, your effort now has to go somewhere else. So it'll go to the very back. And your load that was here, now your effort's there, guess where your load's going? In the middle, that's right. If you can imagine this being a wheelbarrow, okay? And here's your effort in the back, and you're taking a bunch of dirt there, that would be an example of your second class lever. I don't have a wheelbarrow here today, but I do have a dolly. How many of you played with a dolly before? Sometimes otherwise known as a man stroke. Okay, very good. Now this is not just a single simple machine, it is a compound simple machine because it's using another simple machine, your wheel and axle here, okay, to overcompensate a lot of that distance. But look at this, just look at the second class level. We're going to hold that. Fulcrum's right here, the load's in the middle, and your effort's going to be in the back, okay? So, I need a couple volunteers. Let's see. How about you? And how about you? What's your name? Raheem and Cameron. All right. You gotta stand. You gotta let me. like a shovel. Okay? Now the relationship again has shifted. You no longer have fulcrum in the middle, like in your first class lever. No longer at that end, like your second class lever. Is now moved where? To the other end, that's right. And your load was over here in your first class lever, moved down here for your second class lever. Now it's where? At that end. And so what do you have left for the middle?
Work.
What else do you have? You have three things. You have your load, your fulcrum, and your effort. So your effort is right in the middle. Now pretend this is some really heavy snow. Here's my shovel. Whew. There you go. Now, I need a volunteer. Show me the relationship between this. How about you? You look tough. Come on down. All right. Asha? Or is it Asha? Asha, okay. You can actually hold your hands. Flip it. Hold that hand like that forever, never, never. Don't move it. It's a fulcrum. You can move to the side like here. Like we're going to do a shovel. Have you shoveled before? Never? Too spoiled. Okay, you got to move your whole body forward. Otherwise, wait. Keep this here. Move that way. There you go. Nice job. Okay. Now, this hand is your effort hand. So this hand, the further down you move it, the easier it's going to be for you to do. So the bigger wide span you have, okay, now go ahead and lift that. Very good. Now, is that tough or easy? Easy. All right. Now we're going to move your hand a little closer to your fulcrum. Go ahead and lift that. Is that a little tougher? Yeah, definitely. Because we are making her distance smaller, guess what she has to use more of? Her muscles. That's right, her effort. Go ahead and make it smaller. Go ahead and try it there. Now this very invisible dirt or whatever we're shoveling is really, really heavy because of the fact that it didn't change, but we're definitely making the distance smaller. When you make the distance smaller, guess what happens to the force? It gets bigger. That's right, because the work stays the same. She's still lifting the same amount of arrow. All right, let's try it really close right here. Go ahead and lift that up for us. It is virtually impossible. That's right, it's cheating with her leg. That's all right. If we were to make this extremely close, if we put the effort and the fulcrum really close together, okay, would she be able to lift this? No, why not? She's not Mega Man? All right, so we have to find some Mega Man, all right? So can you give her a nice round of applause? Now, we need Mega Man or Mega Woman, okay? But it needs to be an adult that has experience lifting things. So, yeah. Mega Man enough for you?
Mr. Kendall.
All right, come on down. And we just do it like Ashley. You have this hand right here for us. Thank you. And this hand, you can spread it as much as you can. Go ahead and lift it for us. Woo.
Yeah, I'm getting good
All right, so we're
recording.
going to move a little closer, about right there. Excellent. Is it a little tougher at least? Just load it. All right, right here for us. Go ahead. She's amusing us. Go ahead, put it right there for us. It is getting a little tougher to get the seriousness in the space. We're going to put these two hands extremely close, okay? Please don't move your fingers from this position, otherwise you're going to be cheating. Go ahead, make a hand.
Are you using mental powers?
Y'all see it? Y'all see it move?
And you really can't, no matter how strong you truly are. He is trying, and he's not pretending. And you can try it later if you want to. Can you give him a nice round of applause? The reason you can't lift it, okay? And the only way you probably could lift it is if you spread your fingers out, giving you some leverage here. But if you kept your hand just like he did, and you had this hand so close, thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. If you had this hand so close, you really have no distance. So all you have is effort to lift this up. And it is virtually impossible. There are some people that actually can, but that's when they actually spread out their fingers and give themselves some leverage, okay? So, there it is. You guys ready to try it? I had Raheem and Cameron, I think. You don't want to do more? All right, come on, do the ones right next to you. Come on down. Back. All right, you stand still. Nothing's gonna happen to you. There you go. And you move to the other side. Very good. All right. use a lot of effort, plus you'll be bending over and stuff like that. So it would be a lot tougher to do if it was really short. But because of our height limitations, okay, what if we made this very long? Easier. It would be easier once we got it down, but trying to get it down might be the difficult part. But if we could, you're right, it would be easier if this was actually long and we could get it down. All right, so those are your first class, second class, third class lovers. We'll move on to one more thing specifically, and then we're going to experiment on this exhibit floor area. We're going to move on to the pulley. So if I can have everybody stand up and kind of face these chairs,
That is Sambria. The seat is crazy. Pause.
take a picture of both of them. We don't do anything.
Go. It said your mouth phone. That's good.
I'm taking it. No, don't let nobody get you out of the mood. Not to take no picture. Come on, you take a picture with me, honey.
Don't waste too many pictures. There you go.
Just don't.
I don't even know why I let y'all do that. That's the that we on.
We're more than proud to be a part of this community and be part of what the Urban League does. We feel it's an investment in the community, and we're just proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Let's give WDCZ another round of applause. And because of all the generous support from all of our sponsors, money raised by this event will go to support our community and the efforts of the Achievement Matters campaign. Thank you also to the Genesis Health System for their generous sponsorship of tonight's event, and accepting the award for them tonight is David Holland, VP of Genesis, who is an Urban League board member and co-chair of tonight's event.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be a part of this event I think we've been doing this for about 4 years now. Thanks to all of you for making it successful by being here.
We'd also like to thank right now General Motors Parts for their generous sponsorship of tonight's entertainment. Please make sure that you do view the wonderful new GM cars outside of the doors here of Genesis. And you're also welcome to, of course, buy any one of these tonight, because we know you all have your big pocketbooks, right, and your checkbooks. Well, we're going to have right now accepting that award tonight is Venus Harris. I think they want a speech. Okay. All right, well, we do want to thank General Motors Powertrain, Flint, South Engine for their generous sponsorship of tonight's event.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here and to have the Flint Journal table here. When you're invited to a celebration of black and white, the newspaper is a natural invitee. So thank you.
Well, that's one thing, I'm always going to have something to say. I just want to say on behalf of Bank One and our president and the officers, we certainly thank the Urban League for having us be a part of such a great occasion, and not only just tonight, but on all the other things that they do as well. And I want all of you to know that at Bank One, it is not about all of us as adults. It's about our young people. In Bank One, we put a lot of hard work into educating our people. So on behalf of Bank One, we thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I only learned a couple minutes ago that I was actually supposed to step up and say a few things here. As was announced, my title is interim CEO. I usually do sales and marketing for the organization, so usually I'm good for a couple hours up here. So if you don't mind, I'll take Venus's time this evening. We're very proud to be a part of this community. I think a significant part of this community, and we're very proud to be a part of an event like this, such a significant event this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, they say television doesn't help you. She is one pretty lady. But thank you. I enjoy it. I want to personally thank Laisa Richardson. I think we all benefit from her leadership. And thank you. It was a 747 table.
Good evening. I'd like to say thank you for letting us participate in this great event. This is our first time participating, and I'm happy to work for a company like Conquer that does reach out to the community and support very worthwhile events.
We do also want to thank everyone who's here tonight. If you're
That magnetic personality.
Can anyone hear now? I can't hear a thing now, but that's okay. I was going to say thanks to all of you who are here tonight. If your organization or your company bought a table, the Urban League of Flint would like to thank you for your support. Right now, I have the pleasure of introducing a lady who knows an awfully lot about the Urban League of Flint. You know, I met her, well, I've known her for a little bit now, but I got to have her on a show I do.
She has also been ordained as an apostle working in conjunction with the Great Faith Ministries Church International and the International Fellowship Council of Ministries, and is recommended to the world as the ordained apostle in good standing. This certificate of completion certifies that Wilbert Watley Jr. has successfully completed prophetic surveillance, theology, and the gospel. And he also has been ordained as an apostle, working in conjunction with the Great Faith Ministries Church International and the International Fellowship Council of Ministries. Amen. This certificate of completion goes to, this certifies that Doris Henderson has successfully completed prophetic surveillance, theology, the Gospels, and church government. And she also has been ordained Elder Doris Henderson. Is Jacqueline Moore here? This certifies that Faye Andreas has successfully completed church government, making of a leader. Amen. As well as prophetic surveillance, theology, and the gospel. Prophetic surveillance, theology, the gospels, church government, and making of a leader. Amen. This certificate of completion certifies that Karen Denise Lothery has successfully completed theology. Amen. God bless you. Some of our students that are here, they're pastors as well. Is Susan Smith here, Janice Holmes. Monique Moore. All right. This certificate of completion certifies that Wilbur Watley Jr. has successfully completed church government,